Shubor nakaslem jong unongsan Hima.
Kajingalang jong kakinhon menteri kabalong kasingi thoding jong katayo kaartarik unailar arajar arpusaw kalaray ban Pynbeit yikaan Meghalaya Identification, Registration, Safety and Security of Migrant Workers Act arajar arpo but yika Meghalaya Identification, Safety and Security Rules arajar arpo. Habi yakren bakinong thok khubor hadin balawai kajingalang jong kakinhon menteri nakalyang nong aiktin jong ka Sorkar jelaw ba pol lingdo Ulong baka weni kibenta kibadan hapo kajing pentamai ya kani kaan kalong baka Sorkar jela kan penbahai gerukom traikam ha kaban pej benya ya ke history jong kinong trai bar jela bad ban pentikna ba tang kito kibempat don ye kidak sneu kibala ban trai hapo ke jela Meghalaya uba pol lingdo ulong ru baka kinhon menteri kalarai ban pendon kam ye gerukom traikam ya kabala tip kum ke Crime and Criminal Tracking Network System kaban don ye ke jing tip Shaphang ka jinglong jingman jong ubreu la udai ubadan ye kimukot duma persya ye uni bat baka Sorkar jela kan pentikna bakat kum ki jingtip balayo ban sala ban sya ye uno nong trai bar jela ban trai susu la ongru baka jing pentrai kam je kan garukom kan yarap ye katnat pulit ban yo jingtip kambnia Shaphang ki breu ula ban rap ru de ka baong ba ye kan garukom trai kam la ban don bat katnat pulit nang ta bat katanat labor nakabenta kajing itray lang. Uba po lo pentip ru hagabide bat kajing lumthup ye kajing don jong inong tray bar jela nakalya ka Sorkar kan sa pentikna ya kani. Kakinhon menteri kala rairu ban penshitom ye kino ginugi ba Pynkheiñ ye kikindon an dakabadan Kuna kabanado san Hajar Haduh shilak tingka bat ya kani ru ansara hagador bar liur kaban sawan bat ya kajing sya dan Kuna nakabenta kiba peteng ban Pynkheiñ ye kikindon an ru kan sanang keo.
Fraternity. In today's cabinet meeting, one of the major items that was taken up, discussed and approved was the amendment to the Meghalaya Identification, Registration, Safety and Security of Migrant Workers, MIRSS Act 2020, and the Meghalaya Identification, Registration, Safety and Security of Migrant Workers Rules 2020. One of the major components of the new amendment is that the state government will optimize efforts to check the antecedents of migrant workers to ensure that only those with no criminal antecedents can join the workforce as migrant workmen here in Meghalaya. So the cabinet decided that it would make use of a central system called briefly CCTNS, for the Crime and Criminal Tracking Network System. Under this system, which is a database of the crimes and criminals, we will ensure that on the basis of this data available, we will be able to verify the antecedents of migrant workers, and two, the local police will also be able to verify these antecedents based on this system. The system is available with the police, and the Department of Labour will coordinate accordingly to ensure that the records of those who will be registered as migrant workers here in Meghalaya is properly verified. The cabinet also decided that under the Act, the original Act of 2020, there was a provision that whoever is found guilty of violating the Act, they were liable to a penalty of 5,000, a fine of 5,000 per individual. But the cabinet will bring this up to the State Assembly in the session which is to be held shortly, whereby we will enhance this penalty from 5,000 rupees to 1 lakh rupees per offender. In the case of repeat offenders, there will be an imprisonment, simple imprisonment for a term not exceeding 3 months. So, the Principal Secretary Labour is also here, along with his officers, if there are any further clarifications that you might need.
Can you tell us?
Did the tourism department find out about the vehicles, the total commercial vehicles in the state, the figures? Because last time, if you remember, you had briefed us, you said that the demand is high and the supply is low. So can you give us an understanding of the figures, like, and how will you go about it? Because the strong demand from the all taxi commercial vehicles and all, like they demand that.
We're yet to come to final figures, but because of the rising footfalls of tourists, certainly the demand has become higher, and at any point of time, we're short by about 3,000 plus vehicles.
These two acts that the laborers, the contractors, the companies that brought the laborers have to register with.
The current act, which the cabinet has approved amendment to, that will take immediate effect.
So can we say that the earlier act has been repealed, or it will be amended?
It stands replaced by this amendment.
No,
approved
interstate,
by
in this
cabinet
one,
today.
if I just make it,
Yeah.
interstate migrant workers and also migrant worker, these are two different acts. One is National Act, that interstate migrant worker, and this one is Meghalaya Act only. Under the interstate migrant worker, there should be a contractor from the state in which they come, and it will be the number will be more than 5 people. Here under the state, it will be one individual also
One
come,
individual can also
less than
register.
5 people. That is for the purpose of this Meghalaya Migrant Worker Act.
And who will be checking whether all the documents and these migrant workers they have submitted all the documents or not? Who will be checking that?
This will be under the purview of the Labour Department, and an officer not below the rank of Labour Inspector will be given this task, will be tasked with the responsibility of verifying and checking the documents submitted.
Do we have enough manpower?
Yes, at the moment we have, but should there be a need to enhance that manpower, we will accordingly do it.
Coming to this crime aspect, we are now thinking about them as potential criminals. And what about other citizens also? They can also be criminal elements can be there.
Mm-hmm.
So why only the migrant laborers you are considering?
No, what is the
That's
question?
a crime. The crime and criminal acts and antecedents. So we are considering them as potential criminals.
Right.
I mean, are we considering?
No. We are verifying their antecedents so that they do not unnecessarily add to the crime graph of Meghalaya. If they have had criminal records, which they have committed in their home state, obviously such characters will not be welcome to work
But
in Meghalaya.
it can apply to other citizens who come here also.
Yes, the law of the land prevails over every Indian.
The question is why only to them? Then all the people who come here.
No, because every state, and in particular in the case of Meghalaya, we depend largely on migrant workers coming from outside of Meghalaya, because there is a shortfall of local workforce available, and therefore we anticipate that that number will be significant enough that if we do not verify their antecedents, they become a threat to the peace, stability and security of Meghalaya. No, the criminal antecedents of the workers.
So, in that regard, can you tell us the percentage of crimes committed by them in the past?
No. These are workers who wish to work at Meghalaya, for which there is this act under which they will be registered. So they have to either obtain a police verification from the home state, or when they reach Meghalaya, get their antecedents verified by the state police, which will utilize this crime and criminal tracking network system. And based on the verification done by the police, the Labour Department will then process their applications.
Bapal, these agencies and the contractors who are bringing, so if they don't get these laborers registered, will the government take any action against these agencies and the contractors?
Yeah, there are penalty clauses for which
Presently, the penal provision is 5,000. So if now we are putting a bill to the assembly, we are trying to enhance it to 1 lakh
For the agencies and
for the
the
agency.
Okay. And apart from that, imprisonment is also there for the, I believe.
for repeat.
That is for
Offenders.
repeat offender.
But not for the agencies.
It will be for the agency only. We have it will be for agency only. No, for agency only.
Laborers' crisis, in fact, after the exodus of quite a number, following
Absolutely.
the checkings and other exercises that have been conducted in the past. So, whether in the cabinet also you review this, and what are the measures to ensure that, especially government projects, it seems that they are stalling the government projects.
Once this decision has been taken today, I'm sure that this will allay the fears of illegal immigration to a large extent. As I said in the past, two major components of people entering Meghalaya are either tourists or laborers. In the case of laborers, they tend to stay for a longer period of time, which is why we have introduced today's amendment in order to tighten the rule of law that would prevail over such a labor force.
Once again, if you can say this,
The amendment is called Amendment to the Meghalaya Identification, Registration, within bracket, Safety and Security of Migrant Workers, MIRSS Act 2020, and the Meghalaya Identification, Registration, within brackets, Safety and Security of Migrant Workers Rules 2020. So there is an act and rules framed under that act.
Laborers that have been there in the state, particularly which are the states that have been coming, like the high number of laborers from which states? We can have some figures.
Figures not available with us as of now.
For further clarity, as far as rules is concerned, it will not go to the state assembly, but then only the amendment to the act.
Of the act.
Are we today? The cabinet has approved both amendment of the rules and the acts.
We have approved the amendments to the rules, but the amendment to the act, which includes the enhanced penalty, this will have to go to the state assembly for its final approval.
So did the cabinet also take up concerning the tourism? Yesterday, I'm pretty sure they had a meeting with you in that sector. What was discussed? Anything?
We will be holding a 2-day conclave next week, that is on Tuesday and Wednesday next week, where I will be chairing the inaugural session, and on the second day, the Chief Minister, Honorable Chief Minister, will be in attendance. This conclave will include, and we will invite all stakeholders in the tourism industry, ranging from transporters to hoteliers, resort owners, and up to guides at the local level, and also the various shnons, especially the localities and villages where there is a huge footfall of tourists.